This is what I need you to do. Caring behaviors. I need you guys to actually go home and talk to each other about some stuff. I need to sit down and go, what's that thing about my personality that if I gave you a blank check and you said, here's one thing I need you to change. Here's what it is. One thing about your habits. One thing about how you spend your time. One thing, section, whatever. Now, let me get you started and talk, of course, about a sexual example. All right, now, sexuality. All right, I'm going to get you guys started on this because I think you need to go home and have some conversations. Because as I meet with couples, this is one of the biggest issues that they deal with. And I want to stir up a conversation so that you get healthier marriages and relationships out of this. We asked a question in our survey that 1,500 of you filled out. And the question was about sexuality. And it was one question. If you could tell your spouse one thing to improve your sex life, what would it be? All right, one thing to improve your sex life, what would it be? All right, now, let me give you the results. The options we gave you were that you could connect better emotionally, all right? Connect better emotionally. So one thing to improve your sex life. The other option is that you would do it more often, all right? And the next option was that it would get better. All right? Like not quantity, but quality. All right? Those were the three options we gave you. Now, women. I won't ask you what, I'll be like, so what did you answer? All right, so women, by far, 63% of women said they wanted to connect emotionally better. That's the way to improve their sex life, which probably doesn't surprise any of us in this room, all right? Given the other two options. So, emotionally, the women are looking to connect, all right? Now, the problem is that for men, that was the lowest percentage, all right? Which probably doesn't surprise us, but it actually creates this interesting, why did God wire us this? Literally, almost non-existent percentage-wise, that men were like, I want to connect more emotionally in regard to sexuality. Now, the biggest number for men was a surprise to me, actually, right? Now, before I get to that, let's talk about the women for a second. You're frustrated sexually. You want your husband to lean in and actually emotionally connect and communicate with you and so on. So here's what I want to happen. I want you to go home today in light of that information, and I want you as husbands, all right, get the kids to bed, whatever, tonight, I'm asking you. Go home and have a quick conversation or long conversation. Here's the question on the table. Men, I want you to ask your wife what she means by this. I don't want you to assume some stuff out of this, all right? I don't want you to assume, here's what she means by connecting emotionally, all right? I want you to sit down and ask her, what do you mean when he says that the best way to improve our sex life is to connect emotionally? What do you mean by that? How can I do that for you? Remember, caring behavior. This is, you're considering the other more important thing. What does this mean for you? I don't want to assume anything. And women, listen to me. Here's the license I'm giving you. You need to lay it out clear. Clear. If you have to write it down, write it down. Do not assume your husband can understand nuance. He can't, all right? Write the thing down for him. He can take notes. Whatever needs to happen, he needs to. This is how it works. I met with one of our pastors this week. It was fascinating. We're in his office and he goes, oh man, I forgot my priority list. Now, for most people, that's like a metaphor, right? Like you have a priority list. He actually went to his desk and pulled a sticky off and put it down on the table, and I could see the top of it said priorities, and it was a list, all right? I was like, wow, you actually have a list. You have a priority list. That's crazy. But that's how men function. That's what we need. A list. We can stick it on the mirror. Boom. This is what she means by connecting emotionally. I got it on the mirror. I can look at it every day. Here's what she means. I'm not going to assume anything. That's the point. Don't assume anything. All right? So, women want to connect emotionally. Now, that's the word of women to men in this room, anonymously, without having to tell you straight up. That was the word from women to men. Now, the word of men to women, which was fascinating. The highest percentage of these three options among the men was better. 40% of men said they want their sex life to be better, which actually surprised me, which is interesting because, I'm an expert on this topic, and meaning I wrote a book on it. It actually surprised me because obviously we assume that they're gonna say more, right? More. Men actually said, the lower percentage of men said they wanted to have more sex. What they said is they want the quality of the sex to be better. Not quantity, but quality. Now, here's what I'm gonna ask you to do. I was gonna tell you to use your imagination, but that would not be good. You need to think through what this could possibly mean, all right? What does he mean when he says, I want it to be better? So here's what I want to ask the women to do. In your conversation tonight, when he asks you, what does he mean by connecting emotionally? I want you to ask him, what does he mean that he wants it better? And have that honest, real, what about it? What about the quality of our sex life is actually lacking? And then listen, don't just like, pervert, I can't believe it, all right? That's not what I'm asking, all right? Just receive it. It's just as normal. For him to talk about this is just as normal for you to say, I want to connect emotionally like this. He doesn't go, oh my gosh, I can't believe you want to connect emotionally like that. This isn't judgment. There's no judgment here. This is really important in regard to a marriage and relationship series, because I'm already getting emails from some of you. Do not use my words as a weapon. Do not use my content as a weapon. Because you could destroy your marriage, say, well, Pastor Mark said, Pastor Mark said, Pastor Mark said, and you misimply it, and you don't, no, that's not the point of any of this. You gotta work on you. Go back to Philippians 2, figure yourself out, and then pray for your spouse. Don't lay out a list for them, a weaponized list about this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to do. So now, you need to go home and ask your husband, what does he mean by this? And he might mean a variety of things, all right? Well, we always do it with the lights off and the same thing and the same room and the same time, and we need to spice it up about it. And within things that are legal, you guys need to talk about it, all right? You guys need to figure it out, because a healthy, functional sex life for him is a massive priority in his life and the way that he's gonna end up connecting to you emotionally. And for her, connecting emotionally is gonna be a massive motivation to connect with you sexually. That's the point. Now, this surprised me because I thought for sure that men would just write more, but they didn't. They said they want it to be better. Which means you have to have a conversation. That's the whole point. Relationship jeopardy, you assume that you know what they want, what they feel, what they're asking for. You don't know until you have the conversation. So both of you need to sit down and actually have a conversation about what that looks like. Now.